Welcome to Google Ads Unleashed, the podcast that helps you harness the power of Google Ads. And now your host, Jeremy Young.
ROAS, return on ad spend, is the metric that most e-commerce advertisers live and die by, whether that's in Meta ads, whether that's in TikTok, but in Google ads as well. But the thing is, ROAS is a revenue metric. It's not a profit metric, and it does not actually allow you to optimize properly for revenue or actually for profit without accounting for the margin of your products. So you leave sometimes a lot of money on the table without realizing it. This episode addresses exactly this. Welcome back to Google Ads Unleashed, guys. Hope everyone is doing fabulously this wonderful Monday. And today I want to talk about something which I'm absolutely flabbergasted. I haven't done a separate episode on it. I think I've covered it in so many aspects already. I have had, for instance, Frederick Boyson from Profit Metrics on the channel. I've talked about it in ROAS target episodes, why ROAS lies, the CLV CAC episode, but I've actually never talked about what actual target POAS is, how to use it, how to feed it into the Google Ads algorithm, and why it is oftentimes the better solution than tracking your return on ad spend. So what am I actually talking about? So for people who may have not heard this before, so the issue is most people who set up Google Ads tracking do the following. They connect the Google and YouTube app, they connect some process, they have a clever Google Tag Manager setup. Someone clicks an ad, gets to the checkout, hits the purchase button, it fires a conversion back into the Google Ads account, and it, for instance, shoots the revenue of that order, including shipping, including everything, or sometimes not. Sometimes it's just the net margin, sometimes it's the total gross margin of the order back into the Google Ads account. So, for instance, let's say someone makes a purchase of £100, okay? To Google, this doesn't really mean anything because fundamentally, what is that you're tracking in Google Ads? It's the conversion value, right? Very objectively spoken, this is not revenue, this is not net revenue, this is nothing. It is an arbitrary number value that you associate with a conversion. That's why you never see the word revenue in Google Ads, or you never see turnover or something like that. You see a conversion value that is associated with a conversion. So conversion value. And let's say someone makes a £100 order and it pumps 100 back into the Google Ads account. The thing is that you have a fundamental challenge with is that you don't actually know what this means for the business, and Google has no idea what to actually optimize towards. Because a £100 sale, right, let's say with a product or products that have 60% margin, and a £100 sale with only one product that has a 10% margin, look absolutely identical to Google Ads' bidding algorithm. And it'll happily send the same number of people clicking on various ads, chasing both conversions, although the first one is worth 6 times more to the business than the other one. And this creates a whole set of problems, especially this is affecting businesses that have usually products or product range with a lot of products. So for instance, resellers with thousands and thousands of SKUs on the site, or even if you have a few dozen SKUs, this may already cause issues. It may cause issues when you have bundle sales, right? Because in bundles, you usually have the same sort of cost of goods sold. Let's say you sell a bundle with 2 products that you discount at a certain price, then you still have a completely different margin because you have 2 SKUs and then offer 20% off in the bundle. So that doesn't dictate the same return on ad spend target. It also affects businesses often who are very complex carts, right? So very often we have businesses that we deal with who have relatively complex carts. So where people for instance, might buy 5 or something here, 1 of this, and so on, which creates a mix of varying sort of basket sizes, where you have to pose the question, what is the return on ad spend that you need to hit for those orders in order to create, let's say, an average profit margin of 20%? It is absolutely impossible to do this within Google Ads, which is why I've got nothing against normal conversion tracking and tracking ROAS, but typically it's only a very good metric when all of your price or your product range is priced exactly similar or the same. Let's say the cost of goods are always, 20% of your total turnover roughly across all orders, then it's not bad. Or it is also good when you just have a one product store where it's very easy to understand what is going on. Or if you're optimizing for lifetime value and the conversion value is relatively irrelevant. Let's say, for instance, in the lead gen sphere, that's often the case, or in the subscription business where you want to generate one new customer and then you optimize for the lifetime value. But yeah, this is actually, it's a very sort of a common failure mode for most businesses, because what happens then over time is that, let's say you have 100 different products with 100 different margins and you're trying to raise budget, Google will only favor when you have like your turnover as conversion value instead of profit. It'll only favor the products that hit that certain parameter, that have this arbitrary conversion value rule to which you achieve your bid strategy, right? So often what happens is the following. People raise budgets in the Google Ads account because the ROAS is good, but very quickly, even if everything is set up correctly within the ad account, profit actually goes down as spend goes up, because Google is just prioritizing the products that basically pass the bid strategy, right? That go for the bid strategy. And this happens all the time. Here's a concrete example. For instance, a product selling at, let's say, 80 quid with a 15% margin means 12 quid actual profit. But if the CPA is £10, let's say, then the ROAS looks acceptable, but the real return on ad spend is almost nothing. We only have £2 of actual profit, right? In this example. At a 4x ROAS on the 20% margin, a product is far more valuable than a 6x ROAS on an 8% margin, but Google's algorithm has absolutely no way of knowing that unless you tell it. And that's why conversion value is actually so elegant, and I think that's why Google has gone with it, because the reality is you can tell Google anything you want what a conversion is worth, as long as it makes sense for your business and you understand what the data actually means, okay? And there's 3 solutions that I usually sort of recommend here. And the first one is sort of the lowest value one, I would say. And that is to make a conversion value rule. So how does that work? So first of all, the first thing that you can do is you can actually create a custom conversion value, for instance, or similar. And all you need to do is that, or you can even go within the Google Ads Manager to do so, and you can set a multiplier or a fixed amount based on certain conditions for your conversion, right? For your purchase conversion. This is quite simple because you're working with averages and broad categories rather than per product margin data. But this is already one of the first sort of things that you can do to get closer to this. This is maybe a good idea if you have quite few products and this is something that you want to then optimize towards. The second thing that you can do is to get us on board, right? We have a way through Google Tag Manager and Stape with our external tracking specialist to actually pass all of the margin data, such as cost of goods sold, shipping, transaction costs, etc., via Stape as a conversion into the Google Ads interface, and we can actually pump profit directly as conversion value, profit per order, back into the Google Ads account. So in the previous example where I said, hey, if a product sells at 80 quid, it wouldn't pump 80 as a conversion value back into Google Ads, but rather the £12 actual profit of the 15% margin. So it'll pump 12 as a conversion value back into Google Ads. Okay. So this is actually quite sophisticated because it requires the GTM solution to calculate margin at the point of purchase and pass it as a custom value. Our tracking guide is really good at doing so. It usually yields a little bit more data as well, but this is a custom solution as well, which is probably one of the most accurate ones. And the route number 3, which is the easiest one, is to simply use a software which can do so. And our clear winner here and partner are our friends at profitmetrics.io. Okay. So profitmetrics.io, if you message me, you can also get 3 months off at 50%. Just message me and I can provide you with a referral link. By the way, I'm not sponsored. It's just I am believing so much in the product. I believe it's one of the best solutions out there. Does this by simply pushing a few buttons, and it connects you natively with Magento, WooCommerce, any kind of Shopify, all the common platforms, and installs all the conversion actions with maybe 15 to half an hour's work. All you need to do is put in the cost of goods sold within Shopify and have all them prices in there. Your transaction data, you have to put in your shipping costs, your costs per order, for instance, fulfillment costs, etc., etc. And it'll set up the conversion actions with server-side tracking automatically within your Google Ads account, which you can then use to track profit. And Profit Metrics is generally the best one, and it is the software that I would go for. I think I would abstain from Route 1 unless you really have no means at all. Route 2 is for really high volume accounts because Profit Metrics can get quite expensive further down the line. So a custom solution in the long run sometimes is a bit cheaper. But generally speaking, it is something that sort of I would highly recommend if you need a quick solution, just go for Profit Metrics. One of the core objections I get then is, hey, Jeremy, how accurate is that then? Well, the thing is, it's not about accuracy because I think revenue is just as inaccurate as is profit data within Google Ads. But the issue is that you don't need perfect margin data. You don't need the perfect data to make this work. Even a rough margin adjustment into your conversion values is better than no adjustment at all. You're just trying to get as close to reality as possible because it is then already a meaningful improvement over treating all revenue as equal. And typically what then happens is the following. So once you start pumping profit data into the Google Ads account, you first of all have to, of course, operate towards different targets. Because in reality, what this means, for every pound you put in, or every dollar, or every baht, whatever currency you use, anything that is above a ROAS on platform, because it still shows as conversion value divided by cost, is in reality your POAS, profit on ad spend. So everything above 1 is direct profit for the business. Okay, so if you see a ROAS, or conversion value divided by cost on platform, of let's say 180%, in reality this means for every pound you put in, you get an 80 pence of operating profit back into the Google Ads account. And that way you can completely change the game and optimize your ad account completely differently. Because what will happen is Google will stop actually treating all revenue as equal, but it'll actually associate much different and a varying conversion values with different products, and thus bid and prioritize products completely differently. And we've had this recently play out with one of our clients who has switched over to Profit Metrics. They are based in South Germany. They are a reseller of a very famous sort of tent box and so on company in Germany. We make them stand out in the feed with various attributes so that they stand out compared to other competitors. But whilst they were setting up Profit Metrics, which took about a month because the guy was very busy, we were working with ROAS in the ad account, so with the normal Google Shopping app purchase. But what had happened was we couldn't push spend because we weren't exactly sure how profitable Google was. That was the first thing. The secondly, although the ROAS looked insane on platforms, sometimes up to 20, we were hovering at sort of plus minus profitability with a business, okay? Because we were just pushing products, or could only push products that Google was seeing as fulfilling the Google Ads algorithm target, which was X return on ad spend target, okay? The issue with that is it prioritized products which weren't as profitable for him, all right? That's just what was going on. So when we flipped the switch with profit metrics, which was beginning of last week, at the time of the episode, this will be already 2 weeks ago, what had happened is that it started prioritizing completely different products, even within the catch-all campaign. And as a result, not only average order value grew, so the value per conversion actually went up, but profits actually went up. And we were also able to see, holy shit, we were actually on quite a big subset of products were completely underspending, or those were our most profitable products. And now just a week in, it has actually already been the most profitable week of since our collaboration, because we have taught Google to push the products that were actually pushing profit, and this in less than a week. That's how quick it went. Okay, so I'm really excited to see what we can do with this going forward. Is there sort of a place for ROAS? Yes, there is. I don't think it's a particularly bad metric. It's just very important that you know the distinction when to use it and when it's useful. I think POAS is definitely a much better metric within Google because it brings so many advantages. It teaches the algorithm to favor products that are actually profitable. It shows you actually how to which products are profitable. It lets you even group your campaigns by the profitability of products, for instance, unprofitable versus products which are not getting any ad spend, versus products that are far surpassing our POAS targets and are very profitable to the business, so are cash cows, and you can actually push more budget towards that. And for us, typically, it has actually been the game changer in a lot of ad accounts, which allows us to confidently spend more, to confidently push towards the products that are actually generating meaningful profit for the business. And if you want this set up for your business as well, just reach out. We've got some free spots in the agency. Head out to our new website, younganddigital.marketing. You can book a one-to-one with me. You can reach out on LinkedIn, Jeremy on Google Ads. You can also send me an email, jeremy@younganddigital.marketing. I would love to hear from you and see if this is helpful, potentially something that we can set up for you as well. And if this episode has been helpful, please do leave a little review. It really helps pushing the content and helping you guys with free content. So please like and subscribe. That always helps. Jeremy Young, your personal Google Ads expert, and I wish you a happy and productive week ahead.
Thank you for listening to Google Ads Unleashed. To connect with Jeremy, check him out online at www.younganddigital.marketing. We'll see you next time.